Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the jungle. I'm your host, Hamilton Winters of Liger Partners. And this morning, we've got a special one for you because I'm joined by three of my friends now, Nabil Ahmed, Hannah Bergbauer, and Dr. Huma, who is actually coming to us live from Pakistan. How's everybody doing? This is incredible.
Doing good. Yeah, thanks for having us.
I usually only have the pleasure of interviewing one person at a time, and this Foursquare we got going on here is really special. So great to see all your smiling faces this morning. Why don't we start with you, Nabil? I'll let you introduce yourself. We'll work our way around, and we'll get started there.
Sure. Yeah, I'm Nabil Ahmed. I run an organization called Integral Global. We're based in Atlanta. We work a lot with the federal government, including the CDC. And today we want to talk to you a little bit about what Integral is doing around COVID in Pakistan and in Bangladesh. So thanks for having us.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Glad to have you. Hannah.
Hi, I'm Hannah, and it's great to be here with you today. I work with Nabil at Integral Global, implementing projects in different parts of the world. So we're excited to be here.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Dr. Huma.
Dr. Huma, yourself. She looks like she's on.
We might have to come back to her.
Freeze. Oh.
That is A-okay. Nabil, until we get Dr. Huma back, why don't you give us a little bit of background on Integral Global and the work that you guys are doing, and we'll kind of dive in from there.
Yeah, so we're a 4-year-old consulting firm. We have a consulting firm and we have a nonprofit firm. And so a little bit about myself, I worked at CDC for 10 years. I left the agency in 2016 and then started Integral Global. And the whole purpose of Integral Global is to be able to reach hard to access parts of the world. So we work in hard countries like Pakistan, the Middle East, in Iraq. We're working in Uzbekistan, which is not hard to reach, but definitely remote parts of the world. So we're doing public health program implementation in countries that are hard to reach for the U.S. federal government. We also work with private foundations that have an interest in doing philanthropic work. So we're working in Bangladesh with garment factory workers. We're going to talk to you about that a little bit. And then we have small offices. So we have an office in Atlanta, Georgia. We have an office in Uzbekistan. We have an office in Pakistan. We have an office in Tanzania. And, we're small and lean and mean, but we're implementing projects globally in several countries. So it's been an experience. It's been a lot of fun. I've always had a passion for global health. I've been working in global health for almost 15 years now. And it's just something I really enjoy. It's not just the travel, but it's just the opportunity to meet different people, have impact on lives that, we're very blessed to live in this country, but, there's obviously a lot of need globally. And now with COVID, you're seeing this huge need. The U.S. is, in a position, not in a good position right now just with the cases, but if you think about the person living in a slum in Islamabad or the garment factory working in Bangladesh, they have it 10 times, 100 times worse than us. So we're excited to be able to be here to talk to you guys about this.
Absolutely. What a difference you're making. And I think Vishay Singh from PDK is the way that we got connected, correct?
Yeah. So we have an office there at PDK. Yeah.
So wanted to give him a shout out. I actually started a flight school at PDK, and that's how I know Vishay there. So thanks, Vishay, for bringing Nabil and Hannah to us for this exciting conversation. Hannah, give us a little bit of background on you and kind of how you got connected with Nabil.
Okay. So actually, Nabil and I met in Bangladesh. I was working in Cox's Bazar down, which is the southeast part of Bangladesh. So you might have heard in 2017 about the Rohingya refugee crisis, where about 1 million folks fled, sort of a state-led genocide from Burma, Myanmar. And so those folks are still down in the Cox's Bazar region of Bangladesh. And I was working with the Rohingya and then the host community, which is the local Bangladeshi population, because most of those folks are experiencing pretty deep poverty as well. My background is, I'm a nurse midwife and a nurse practitioner, and then also do public health work. And so when I met Nabil and he started telling me about Integral Global and sort of what the whole vision and idea behind it was, it just made sense to me, because there had been so many things that I had seen over the years that it seemed like he was meeting the exact gap that had been my frustration. And so we jokingly at first said that I was going to come work with him, and then I'm now working with him. So it's awesome to be based in Atlanta and then get to do this work in countries where, you know, often people are forgotten, or they're not necessarily forgotten, but people just can't access these communities. So for example, like the slums in Islamabad or the camps in Cox's Bazar, it's just not a place that people can get to. So we're really excited to, you know, keep moving forward, especially in the, you know, current state we're in with COVID. And these communities are especially marginalized at this point, where we'll talk about it more later, but people are saying they're less afraid of COVID and more afraid of not being able to feed their families. So yeah, there's a lot of work to be done, but
yeah, that's amazing. I mean, it's the life versus livelihood argument.
Yeah.
And you guys are in the trenches each and every day. Nabil, you mentioned something that is so important, which is we are so blessed to live where we live and to have access to the things that we have access to. And we all see on a daily basis how the United States is fighting or trying to fight the COVID, especially the second curve that it seems like of rising cases. But little do, I'd say the vast majority of everyday Americans think about those hard to reach places and how much different the fight is in somewhere like Islamabad or Cox's Bazar, which Hannah was talking about. Give us some insight on what the difference or some of the similarities are between how we here in the United States are trying to fight this same disease that is just a global pandemic.
Well, so the project in Pakistan is very specific. So, you know, even in Islamabad, which actually went into lockdown when COVID happened, so you know, the wealthy were able to hole up essentially, like you know. This is why we're on a podcast, because we're not meeting in person to avoid COVID spread. But we work with what are called marginalized communities. So they live in Islamabad in what are called slums, and they are essentially micro populations of underserved folks. So these are folks who are, you know, they're street sweepers, they're domestic help. They do very, very, very sort of menial jobs, and they earn daily wages. So if they and they're incredibly marginalized. So Pakistan, you know, a country where you know still working towards serving all the people, it hasn't gotten there. So there are these slum populations. There's 17 slums throughout Islamabad, and these individuals, you know, as I said, have to go out in the community and earn their money on a daily wage. So if they don't go out, they don't earn the money. And so when COVID hit, you know, a lot of the city shut down, but these folks, because they had to feed their families, they had to go get rice, and they had to go get, you know, the food to just feed their kids, went out and continued to sweep the streets, continued to, you know, hey, Dr. Huma, continued to do the work that they need to do, which made them high-risk candidates for contracting COVID. That's in addition to the lack of education. So the government of Pakistan obviously put folks like, you know, who were able to sequester in sequester orders, but these folks had no outreach, no education, no testing. So we don't know anything about COVID spread in these communities, and they're out there, you know, sweeping the streets, you know, cleaning people's houses. So there's a lot of community spread happening. I'll stop there and let Dr. Huma introduce herself and anything she wants to add about the project as well. Dr. Huma, we're just introducing ourselves and talking about the slums in Islamabad.
Yeah. So hello everybody. Hello Hamilton. Hello Hannah. Hello Nabil. So so yeah, I just arrived this morning, and then, you know, we were working on the how the work in the slum is going. And as Nabil told you that, you know, we're working in these very, very underprivileged communities which are living in urban slums in Islamabad. And this is a population of about 50,000 people who are kind of daily wage workers. They're marginalized, they're non-Muslims. So we chose this community because of their, you know, very special needs, because they are underprivileged, they're minority, and they're not very well looked after. So now with Nabil, we are working on this population where we are screening them and screening them for hepatitis C. And then those who are found positive, we check them for their PCR or the viral checkup, and then if they're also found positive for the virus, then we also treat them free. So it's a testing, treatment, and a cure strategy that we follow on them. So yeah, it's kind of very, very encouraging for us to go in this community and really see how they're living and what are their issues and how we can help them in management of this disease, because otherwise it's a very costly treatment and testing, but this is all being done free for this population. And apart from this, now just today we will launch the COVID awareness program in this community, where we are making them aware of this COVID. What is this virus? How is it spreading? And how can we stop this spread? And then we are also providing them with the PPEs, the gloves, the masks, and then soap and water for washing their hands. And then we're trying to actually put this daily workers back into their jobs, because they are unable to buy the masks and the gloves and have the PPEs, so they're out of the job. So we are trying to help them, put them back into their jobs so that they can go and get their livelihood back. So that's the activity which just today we have launched, and this is going to be there for the next 6 months, where we are going to support them and we are going to help them get back to their jobs and start their, making their ends meet. So it's kind of, very encouraging. But these days it's very, very, very hot in Islamabad. It's really
Yeah.
scorching hot, and going in the community and working there, it's really very demanding. But I'm happy that we have a good team, and people are really very happy. And this time the community participation appears to be very good, because they think that we are giving them something and not taking anything from them. So that's the first time that we are giving them everything but not taking anything from them.
Wow.
So that's it.
And it's monumental now,
Thank you.
because today is actually the launch of the project. So Dr. Huma is in Islamabad. She's usually resides in Karachi, but today is actually when we actually formally launched the project. So it's interesting that we're talking today after she's been apparently out, and it's probably over 100 Fahrenheit in Islamabad today. So imagine living in the slums, no air conditioning, dirty water, and it's 100 degrees Fahrenheit. So good for you, Dr. Huma, for being out there. I know.
I cannot imagine. I want to bring something to light, and that is the fact that you three work in such extreme conditions. You work with such terrifying situations, yet all three of you have a smile on your face.
Yeah.
Right? Dr. Huma has not stopped smiling.
Yeah.
Right on the camera.
She always is laughing and smiling.
He always has a positive attitude.
And I'm sure that's encouraging to everybody else that's going to watch this or that's watching it now, that you have three folks that are spearheading initiatives against these worldwide epidemics. And Dr. Huma, you bring up a great point, and that is that COVID has eclipsed all of the other diseases that still exist. You mentioned hepatitis C. Hepatitis C didn't stop because COVID started. It's still alive and well. And to take all the attention off of it to attack something else is, a tragedy in itself. So it's so nice to hear that other diseases that we fought for years are not being neglected on behalf of what's in the headlines today. And maybe you can speak to that, or Dr. Huma, whoever, that you guys have all of these initiatives that are going on, and you seem to be the key that unlocks doors that have been locked for centuries.
She is.
Thank you. Yeah, we're trying hard, but but it is encouraging. Really, frankly, it's very encouraging, and I'm so happy. And probably Nabil told you that very soon, probably in another two months or so, we'll be launching the Prime Minister's program on hepatitis elimination in Pakistan, and it's about $400 billion program, which is spreading over 5 years. And hopefully we are going to screen and treat about 12 million people through that. We'll screen about 120 million and treat about 12 million people all over Pakistan in 5 years and eliminate the disease. So it's a big project, which, I'm the focal point, and we have a group who's leading it. So we are one of the brain waves behind it. So
It's amazing.
we hope that we will be able to, inshallah, also complete this.
Well, it's an honor to be on the camera with you today with everything that I've heard thus far. Go ahead, Nabil.
So it's just important to know that our original project was around hepatitis C. So Dr. Huma is actually a very well-known, renowned gastroenterologist, has multiple consultations with the WHO. So we're very lucky to have her on the team. The COVID thing, when it hit, Dr. Huma and other folks on the ground, we pivoted to address COVID because we're already in the slums looking at hepatitis, testing for hepatitis C, which is, again, an under-addressed disease in poor populations, particularly in Pakistan, which is the second highest burden in the world. And we thought, well, we're already in the community. We're already working with these folks who are high-risk individuals. Why don't we do COVID? So that's what Dr. Huma is doing today. We're giving out PPE. We're doing WASH. WASH is a water, sanitation, hygiene. We're doing education and awareness. And then what we want to do is talk to them about, hey, do you guys know where to get tested if you have these symptoms that are, they're recognizable: fever, headache, dizziness, body aches? Then go get tested. And so we're trying to address this, and we're hoping to hit at least, anywhere from 30 to 50,000 people in the slums. I think that's 50,000 people in all the slums, right, Dr. Huma?
Yeah.
What an impact. And just the knowledge.
And then, because this is a marginalized population, so they're not very educated. So when we are doing this educational program with them, then we are working on infographics. So we have developed those infographics where there is less to read, there's more to see and understand. So that's how we are trying to train them as to how to keep a social distance, how to wash hands, how to wear gloves and masks, and be still within the community, but protect yourself. So that's we are trying to empower them by understanding the issues. Nabil and our whole group is really working very hard on that.
That's amazing. That's amazing. I'm going to talk on behalf of the lay people in the crowd who are not medical professionals. You do not want me in an operating room. You don't want me around blood. I promise. I come from a line of doctors and lawyers, but I never got the doctor. Hannah, maybe talk to us about this, or Nabil, or whoever wants to jump in here.
Oh, Hannah, please.
We hear a lot of stuff coming through the pipeline about COVID and about other diseases like hepatitis C, but mainly about COVID right now. If you had an opportunity to clear the air, because you guys are in the trenches, on the front lines, what do you tell people? Is it, I don't want to speak for you. What do you tell them? If you had the opportunity to say, hey, look, this is my time. If I had to wrap up COVID, either the dangers of it or the best practices, what are you seeing that is working? And how can we be corresponding with you and communicating with you and working alongside you to help win the fight instead of just, watch it happen?
Dr. Huma, why don't you go ahead?
But the way we are trying to use it is that we tell them that it's a preventable disease, where all you have to do is just not only protect yourself but also others by washing hands, by wearing a mask, by wearing a gloves, and try to avoid very close contact. But it's a disease which is very easily preventable. So don't panic, try to understand it and follow the PPEs. So that's the gist of the main thing that we try to help them. We don't want to scare them, because the moment they get scared, they don't want to listen anything. Then they just want to avoid it and not understand it at all.
Yep. Well,
Hannah, go on.
Go ahead, Hannah.
Yeah, I mean, I think she said exactly what I would have said as well, which is no, it's great. Because I think that what we see is that there's a lot of people who are not educating themselves. And maybe people think that they are educating themselves, but they're not using sources that are providing them with the information that's really the truth. So, I mean, we would obviously recommend anything that comes from CDC is going to be the guidelines that you should follow. And like Dr. Huma said, I mean, it is scary, but it doesn't have to be, right? So if we follow the recommendations of washing our hands, you know, I mean, it's hard to not be in close contact with people. We're in the middle of the summer here in the US where everybody just wants to be at a concert or in the park, but this year is just going to have to be different. And we don't have to be scared of it. And we can also take responsibility for ourselves and help end this by wearing our masks, washing our hands, and, you know, sort of distancing for the time being. And then, you know, like she said, there's a lot of information out there. It depends on what you choose to read. So we always follow CDC guidelines.
No, that's a great point, and thank you for that. With being in the business world, we're a marketing firm, so we're always looking at our clients, and especially right now, it seems every business in some shape, form, or fashion has had to pivot. Nabil, you mentioned that you guys were already in the slums. You were there doing the hepatitis C work, and then COVID hit, and you're like, hey, look, right place, right time to make a pivot. What is the decision-making process like there? How did that whole thing unfold for you guys of, look, if we're here, we might as well lend a hand with what's going on. And it seems like you did extremely well with that pivot.
Yeah, I mean, I give Dr. Huma and her team credit. Dr. Huma, Dr. Hassan, who's not on there, also is part of the team. And, you know, I give them credit. I mean, they sort of were insightful in realizing that, you know, we're in a slum. This is a marginalized population. I mean, it's hard for us sitting here in a nice room, you know, nice office, wherever, to imagine. I mean, if I could send you pictures of the slums, I mean, they're terrible conditions. And so you're thinking, wow, these guys have to go out and earn their wages, you know, from here, and then they have to come back to the slum. And there must be community spread happening here. So I think that it was insightful right at the outset for Hassan and Huma to realize that, you know, this is something that needs to be addressed. Hepatitis needs to go to the side right now, and we need to address the COVID issue because, as you said, the whole world changed, right? When the virus hit, the whole world changed. And frankly, I think that, you know, the US will come out of it. You know, we'll eventually come up with a vaccine. Hopefully we'll eventually come with, you know, some type of stabilization. Let's hope. But the world is not going to open up just because the US is done. There's still going to be COVID all over the globe. There's still going to be COVID in Pakistan, Bangladesh, and all of these countries that need, you know, assistance among the poor. And so I think doing this now addresses the issue at an early stage where we're ahead of the curve. And we're trying to establish best practices. Dr. Huma is very involved with the Ministry of Health there on the ground. We're establishing a best practice that, look, you know, folks within government, that there are small things you can do in micropopulations with, you know, with small pots of funding that can have a huge impact in the community. So I think that all that thinking sort of led to this project. And you know, we just launched today. We're hoping for great success. I think Dr. Huma and Dr. Hassan and others in the field will have a good foothold. We already have established trust within the community, so we'll be out there doing this, and we're hoping to get these results out to policymakers, to folks at the CDC, folks at, you know, WHO, whoever our partners are through our organization, to establish best practices and then replicate it. You know, we're hoping to do this in Bangladesh among garment factory workers, and so we're doing that also, starting here hopefully in a few months. So it's just a matter of realizing, you know, this vision. So seeing that what impact can this have among populations, and then addressing it early at the outset. And then, you know, we're lucky to have good funders, because all this costs money as well. And so we have good funders. You know, want to give a shout out to the John C. Martin Foundation that is supporting us in Pakistan and for hepatitis and for COVID. And so, you know, we're just very lucky to have the opportunity to do this and address this issue at the outset. Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. I see encouragement, and I want to know, are you guys encouraged by what you're seeing? And that's to really anybody.
Dr. Huma, are you encouraged? I'll be encouraged to get on a plane and come there.
Frankly, yes, I'm very encouraged by the support from the foundation and by the support from Nabil, and whatever we have said. I'm a very firm believer that, you know, once you start a thing, then you must finish it, and we know that we started something, and we're very sure that we'll finish it with good colors.
I love it. I love it. And
Thank
you mentioned colors. You look
Nabil, I have to
beautiful in
go.
yellow.
I have to go to the
Yeah,
meeting.
I know you have a call, Dr. Huma. Thanks for joining. I appreciate it.
Dr. Huma, it was an honor.
Good to see you,
Thank
Dr.
you.
Huma. Say hello to everybody for us.
Thank you.
So,
That was phenomenal, by the way. Thank you so much for sharing the link with her so that she can join us. And I know it seems like it has not been any time at all, but we're up against kind of our time mark. And watching, listening in, I know folks are going to want to lend a hand, and they're going to want to jump on and support what you guys are working on. How can they and how can I support the work that you guys are doing all around the globe?
yeah, I mean, if I could, Hamilton, for a moment. So we talked about the Pakistan thing. We're also working with garment factory workers in Bangladesh. We're working with an organization called the Ayat Foundation, which trains nurses. I think that's where the help is needed. I mean, I think the Pakistan thing is well on its way. We're established. We've got a good foothold. I mean, you can check out our website to get updates on what we're doing. But in Bangladesh, there's a great story by Lauren Freyer on NPR that talked about garment factory workers and how hard they were hit. And they're mostly women. So it's, 80% of the garment factory workers are women who are hard hit, who are not able to, earn their wages also because of the garment industry. And garment factories, as you guys know, probably from just everyday interactions, they're all sitting close together. So if you want to get involved, I mean, that's the way to get involved. And Hannah, I don't know if you want to say anything from your time in Bangladesh about working with Ayat, maybe for a minute or so.
Yeah, please
do. We were, I think, drawn to this idea of working with the garment factory workers and the spinning mills and all of these women specifically who are they're kind of at that rock and a hard place, right? Where they're like, they don't want to get COVID, but they really need the money because they are considered the breadwinner for maybe an entire family, not just their, nuclear family. And so they're going back to work, and then the garment factories or the other facilities are, they don't have the public health guidelines to support them in supporting the workers and being safe. So that's where we're trying to come in. And so we're looking forward to that project sort of rolling out in the coming months. And supporting these women and, returning to work, earning their wages, but also being safe and having the resources that they need. Because gender-based violence has also increased pretty dramatically globally in the US, but specifically in Bangladesh too. And so making sure that people have, the financial resources coming in to help reduce those sort of things that are happening at home too is, kind of critical as well. So we're really excited about this project.
Yeah. So that's one way to get involved. I mean, just check out the website. We'll be updating it here and over the next few weeks. And
And that's integralglobal.net, correct?
Integralglobal.net.
Yeah. INTEGRAL global. I always spell it.
A lot. Yeah.
I love it. I love it. Well, we would love nothing else than to support you in any way that we can. Me personally, our company, this has been not only an insightful conversation, but an encouraging and inspiring one. You guys are doing the Lord's work. So thank you so much for what you do all over the globe, for being that bridge to places that have otherwise just been an island out there.
Cool. Thanks, Hamilton, for having us.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And for everybody watching in, listening in, thanks for joining us this morning for this special conversation with Nabil Ahmed, Hannah Bergbauer, and Dr. Huma, who came all the way from Islamabad, Pakistan to be with us this morning. Hope everybody has a great day. Until next time, we'll see you in the jungle. Thanks, guys.